Because I have another conference call at 8 o'clock, and a little late, I'm going to be very short. I'll just say a few words about the introduction to the Bhagavad Gita. In the introduction to the Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada starts by explaining that the Gita Upanishad is the essence of all the Vedic literature. And that one American lady asked him to recommend an edition of the Bhagavad Gita in English. And Prabhupada said that out of all the hundreds of Bhagavad Gitas in English, that none of them touched on the spirit of the Bhagavad Gita. The spirit of the Bhagavad Gita is that Prabhupada said if you want to take a medicine, you should take it according to the label on the bottle, according to the expert physician. Similarly, Bhagavad Gita, the spirit of it, is that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As confirmed by great acharyas like Sankaracharya, Madhvacharya, Amunacharya, and later on by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, and also proclaiming in Srimad Bhagavatam, Brahma Gita, that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God. Now, that knowledge, because Krishna, he says in the Bhagavad Gita, that he knows everything, the past, present, and future. Therefore, whatever he says in the Bhagavad Gita, if he is actually the Supreme Personality of Godhead, it must be perfect. Perfect knowledge means understand that we're all eternal servants. All eternal, first of all. That's knowledge. Without understanding that we're eternal, spiritual beings, that we're not simply on the animal level of eating, sleeping, mating, defending, without any actual knowledge of the real self, who we actually are. In order to understand that, we have to take guidance from Krishna in the form of the super soul within our heart, and externally as the succession, parampara, who give us Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. Now, the reason why it's relevant to all of us is that we all have an eternal relation with Krishna. Everyone has Krishna in their heart. Everyone is being guided by Krishna. Either it goes enlightenment or it goes ignorance. It's our choice. Now, in order to understand what Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells Arjuna, the Evayam Maya Teja, Yogo Prasya Prahladananda, Bhagavad that Sevayam Maya Teja. Now I'm speaking to you this knowledge, this ancient knowledge, because Arjuna had two qualifications. He was Krishna's friend, and he was Krishna's devotee. So that's what we're trying to become, is Krishna's friend and his devotee. That's the aim of the Bhagavad Gita, is to help us become Krishna's friend and help us become his devotee. Now, until we become at least the platform of pure devotional service, that we don't know Krishna personally. To the large extent, we're taking this on faith. But we don't have to blindly accept the Krishna's God, and we don't have to blindly reject the Krishna's God. It is a submissive spirit which we try to understand Krishna and try to realize Krishna truth by practicing Bhakti Yoga. Now, our founder, Acharya Srila Prabhupada, he's established this International Society for Krishna Consciousness simply to give us the opportunity to understand our relation with Krishna. It's not a medical organization, it's not a social organization, it's not a financial organization, it's not even a construction organization. It's an organization meant to develop our consciousness so that we can understand, realize our eternal relation with Krishna. By doing that, then our life, human form of life, becomes successful. Now our society is based on the premise, the understanding, that our founder, Acharya Srila Prabhupada, is a perfect representative of Krishna. In other words, that he founded this as on behalf of the Parampara, this International Society for Krishna Consciousness. But he did so as a representative of the Parampara. And by his activities, by his going around the world and establishing Krishna consciousness everywhere, even in Australia. One time Prabhupada was in Atlanta, Georgia, in America, and he said that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was so kind, he's come to this remote part of the world, America, to establish Krishna consciousness. Because actually the center of Krishna consciousness, not when we do that. The center of Krishna consciousness is Mayapur, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is manifesting the Sankirtan movement. So anything apart from anything far away from Mayapur is considered to be quite remote. So you probably can't get more remote than Australia. Adelaide is exactly in the center of the universe here. So Shri Radha Center has come to this remote part of the world, in Panchatattva, give us the chance of understanding Krishna, and probably one who actually brought Krishna consciousness to the Western world. Not only to the Western world, but also back to India again. Without Krishna Shakti Vinayati Dharma, without being empowered by the Lord Krishna, that Prabhupada could not have spread Krishna consciousness in a short period of time, or writing 80 different books on Vaishnava philosophy, initiating thousands of disciples all over the world, traveling all over the world, and exhibiting the symptoms of a pure devotee. Therefore, our society is based on the fact that anyone who follows Srila Prabhupada, whether we're initiating gurus or we're Shiksha Guru or just ordinary devotees, our whole advancement is based upon understanding and following Srila Prabhupada's instructions. And also following the instructions, example of those who are following Srila Prabhupada. We have nothing to add, we have nothing to make up. I remember when Prabhupada came to the temple I joined in Buffalo in 1969, we were chanting all kinds of mantras. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Ram, all kinds of Gopal. And when Prabhupada heard it, then he said that actually, he told my temple president, that we only chant mantras that are Guru Parampara chanted. Now it may sound very strict. Matter of fact, the way Prabhupada did things, we may think, well, this is we want to become more elaborate, more inventive, more original. But this is called Maya. That when we do things the way Prabhupada did things, one advantage of doing it, or that our acharyas did things, because Prabhupada is the representative of the acharyas, then we'll remember Prabhupada. Then by remembering Prabhupada, we'll actually be connected with the Parampara. But if someone is doing things that don't help us remember Prabhupada, that we think is something original, something new, then we're disconnected from the Parampara, and our activities become something less than purely spiritual. Therefore, whatever we're doing, whatever we're saying, should try to help ourselves and others understand Srila Prabhupada as a pure devotee, and how, especially, he was empowered to do what? Yari Deka Tarikaha Krishna Upadesh Amara Aga Gurahana Taradesh. That Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advised us that whoever we meet, we should try to help them become Krishna conscious by telling them about Krishna. That way, one actually becomes a guru, one is actually representing the Parampara, and will actually help people come back to their spiritual relation with Krishna. Therefore, the life of Srila Prabhupada, his teachings, his example, his books, will all show us the path of becoming Krishna conscious by following the sadhana that Sri Goswami's advisor. Not only come to the temple once a week or sometime, but if we can't come to the temple, then at least in our home, as Krishna Prabhupada writes in the Bhagavad Gita, that if we want to develop Krishna consciousness, Asakti Vishkanga, Putra Dara Grihadishu. One of the qualities of knowledge is detachment from wife, home, children, and the rest. So that detachment doesn't mean we don't have affection for our children, our home, our wife, or our husband, and the rest. It means that we sit down morning and evening with our family and we chant Hare Krishna together. We hear Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and we worship the deities. That way we spiritualize our family existence and becomes Grihastha Ashram. And then we can make advancements, spiritual advancement in such a situation. That's the duty of every householder to progress in spiritual life, so one day they can become vanaprasthas and then sannyas. The husband can take sannyas, and the wife can go back and teach the children to follow the principles of devotional service. So, Srila Prabhupada established the Hare Krishna movement, and as much as we follow his instructions, including, for instance, sadhana, and we can see Prabhupada's life and his history, his teachings, his conversations, and see how we ourselves can introduce Krishna consciousness. The principles in which Prabhupada, he instructed people about Krishna by first of all making friends with them, and then when they were a little bit more comfortable, he'd introduce our philosophy to them, if they were qualified to hear it. But Prabhupada did not force anyone to become Krishna conscious. He was not disturbed if someone did become Krishna conscious. He offered the greatest gift of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the source of everything. All beauty, all knowledge, all fame, all strength, all renunciation, all wealth. And he's offering Krishna personally, and if we want to, we can take Krishna, go back to the spiritual world and live with Krishna forever, in full bliss and full consciousness, and full devotion for Krishna and all his devotees. We can develop unalloyed, uninterrupted love for everyone and everything, with Krishna in the center. Or we can go on and on, make complete worlds and material universes, and try to pretend that we're something other than Krishna's servants, and meet with the same problems with which we get birth after birth. And because we're in Kali Yuga, you can only expect things to get worse. If you're hoping that with a change of government, with artificial intelligence, or whatever it is, things are going to get better, good luck. And if we're thinking we should take shelter of Krishna, take shelter of Krishna's devotees, take shelter of Prabhupada as the pure devotee, as the leader of this movement, then we'll actually get good luck. So thank you very much. Best of luck in Krishna consciousness. We hope to see you soon. To Prabhupada ki jai.